Hi everyone, welcome to the first video for our class Media and Citizenship, which is Communication 2850. In this video, I'll just introduce myself and tell you a little bit about my role in your education. Like what am I doing here? And then in the next videos, I'll talk a little bit more about the course, what our goals are, how we're going to achieve those goals. But for now, I'm just introducing myself. So we'll start with my name, which is always so much more complicated than I think it needs to be. So my professional title is Dr. Melissa Foster. And, generally in a professional environment, people go by their professional title. So that would be Dr. Foster. I certainly don't mind going by Melissa because that's my name. So Melissa is on the fine list too. So Dr. Foster's fine. Melissa's fine. One that I was always low-key interested in is Doc Foster. And that's just because my undergraduate advisor was Doc Walker. And in her honor, I thought, oh, it would be neat sometime if I, to show the mentorship that she provided for me to go by Doc Foster. The only one that I ask you to avoid is like the Miss or Mrs. Foster. And that's just because it's not my name. It's not like there's anything against it. But I've just never been a Mrs. or Ms. Foster because I completed my PhD before I changed my last name to Foster. So it's just not my name. So Dr. Foster, fine. Melissa, fine. If you want to get, out of the box, Doc Foster would be fine too. So let me tell you a little bit about my background. I am from New York State. Lots of students ask me if I'm Canadian. I am not. If you imagine New York State as a dog's head, right? You can imagine this is the head, here's the mouth, here's the eye, this is like the neck of the dog. And New York State obviously is a dog's head. I grew up right about where the mouth would be. So not far from the Canadian border, but I'm not Canadian. As far as my education background goes, after high school, the first place that I went was Corning Community College. That was the local community college. Fun fact, I went there right around the same time that my mom did. She did her associate's degree in nursing right around the same time that I was going to school there. And after that, I moved along to Alfred University. Alfred University is a small private school. It was pretty swanky, and the reason that I was able to attend is that I had a full ride scholarship because I did well in the community college. I was able to get a scholarship for the fancier university. After I finished my bachelor's degree at Alfred, I moved to Japan to teach English for a couple years. This was great. And, if you're in a similar situation, I recommend it because I never had the money to travel or the means to travel in any way, but I always wanted to. So since I couldn't just travel for fun, I decided to just take a job in another country. So that was my first time on an airplane moving across the world to Japan, and it was great. When I came back after a few years, I got my first master's degree from Western Kentucky University. This over here was our mascot, Big Red. I know. But that was in experimental psychology. And then I came here to OSU where I got my second master's degree and my PhD, which are both in the area of health communication. So that's my past. What do I do now? So you might be familiar with the fact that none of your instructors just teach. There are really three main things that we work on, hopefully equilaterally. We teach, obviously. We also either do research or something applied. I do research. Something applied would be like, if you're taking a class in journalism, your professor probably does some freelance journalism. If you're taking a class in counseling, your professor is probably counseling on the side. I don't do any of that applied stuff. I just do research. And the third part of our triangle is service. So we all do some kind of service. That's just part of working in the university environment. So about the teaching bit, I teach a lot of classes. So I teach about 10 to 12 classes a semester. And it's always different. Sometimes I'll be teaching a class for the first time. But these are some of the classes that I teach pretty regularly. This one, Media and Citizenship. Media and Citizenship is one of my babies, and that I kind of developed this class from scratch and went through all the procedures to get it approved. I also teach persuasive communication, which is also in the citizenship for a diverse and just world theme. And there's actually a lot of us that teach that class. I teach the history of communication, which is in the social and behavioral sciences foundation. I teach public speaking in the School of Communication. And I teach some of the bookend classes, which are for the new GE program that you take a class called Launch, where you're trying to make a plan for your time as a student, and then the reflection where you're like, how did it go? Where do I go from here? How do I create an electronic portfolio that's going to help me get a job when I'm out on the market compared to all these other people who have maybe similar qualifications to me? And the last thing that I teach is that I do every semester do independent research with undergraduate students. This is a class, it's sort of an invitation only class, but students who do really well in my other classes, I might reach out to them and say, you seem like someone who's very mature and you know what you're doing and you're reliable. I'm gonna do a research study. Would you like to get involved in that? And they can do that for course credit. So that's what I teach. As far as research goes, I'm in the area of health communication. And my main goal there is a little bit different than what other people do when they study health communication. Most people, when they study health communication, they're trying to figure out how to get people to make good decisions for their own health. My research is a little different because what I do is I study how can we use the mass media to persuade people to engage in some kind of behavior or policy support that doesn't improve their own health or well-being in any way, but it does improve the health and well-being of other people. So my research is very much centered on pro-social persuasion. And what that really comes down to, though, is I'm literally just trying to convince people to be nice to each other using mass media. So that's my research. As far as service goes, it changes a little bit semester to semester, but I always do peer review. Peer review is something that we'll talk about later in the semester. It is a volunteer service. Nobody gets paid for it, but it has to happen in order for science to move forward. So basically, before you can get a study published in an academic journal, other people have to read it and make sure that it's good enough. You know, they either reject it or they make some just suggestions for improvement. I am one of the many people who do that reading. Another service that I do is course creation. So I work on that a lot, especially for the new GE program. I feel like there are a lot of opportunities for classes that might be beneficial for students. And of course, that's not something that we get paid for, so that counts as a service. There's also various kinds of ambassador work that I do around the university. So these all come down to a lot of the academic things that I do to try to help the university continue moving forward. So that's about me, my past, what I'm doing now. Now, the final part, what am I doing for you? What is my role in your education? I want to take some time to dispel a couple myths, and I'd like to do so with an analogy of a game. This is the Mario game. It existed when I was younger, but I never did play it, but I have a general idea of how the game works. There's a castle, and you are Mario, and there's a princess in the castle, and you are trying to save her. And in this case, what I'd like to say is that you are Mario in our analogy, and saving the princess is like reaching your goals for the class. And so a lot of students, when they're thinking about what is my role in this goal of you saving the princess here, is that they see me as an obstacle, where it's kind of like, here I am being like, you're not going to get the grade unless you get through me, you know, like I'm trying to prevent you from your goals. And that really doesn't fit my personality, nor does it fit like the goals of academia. I'm not here to stop you from anything. So if that is something that you've heard about the university environment before you came here, hopefully we can put that to rest. That's not the goal of any of your professors. But there's another myth that I want to dispel as well. So again, we have your goals for the course and we have you. And a lot of students think, well, I need to get to the goals. And so my professor is the person who is going to just whisk me away and take me to reach all of these goals that I have. And that's really not my role in education either, because in this case, it would be me telling you what to do, what's right, what's wrong, things like that. And that's just not how academia works. Rather, the situation is a little bit more like this. In this case, there you are. And there's your goals. And what you can see is different about this scenario is that you are working. You are climbing those bricks. You are choosing which bricks you're going to grab onto, and you're doing all the work yourself. And my role is really more to just be a guide and give you some suggestions. Like, ooh, do you see that brick? You could probably grab that one. And that's my goal for this course, and my role in your education is that I want you to be in the driver's seat. So in this course, we're going to have umbrella topics that we're covering in each module. And within that umbrella topic, you're going to pick a specific subtopic that you want to write your discussion papers about. So I want you to be choosing something that you're interested in, that you want to learn more about, that's maybe relevant to your future goals. So I'm not, in this case, trying to just dump information on you. Rather, I want you to be able to find things that you're interested in. You're in the driver's seat, and I'm like the helper. And so some of the things that I like about that is that because this course is online, I can be your education buddy anywhere. You can watch these lecture videos at the gym, plop up your device on a treadmill or something, and I'll be on the treadmill with you. If you want to bake cookies, plop up your device on your kitchen counter and make your cookies, and I'll make the cookies with you. So there are some real benefits to doing this online. So in the next video, we'll talk a little bit more about the course. Thank you so much for your attention.